Hello and welcome back to Sports for Dummies. In today's episode, we have the best segment in the AFL, the premiership. We are going, Johnny. Are you excited?
Very excited. Round of upsets. What did we learn with everyone? Are they on the ship? Are they in the drink? Everything's changed. Who is driving the wheel? Let me break it down for you how we are doing this. So we've got the segment. So we've got in the drink, in the water. That means they are done for the year. Absolutely gone. Then next, you got the life rafts where you're not on the ship, but they're not dead yet. It's just a little bit wave and they're gone. They are in trouble. They're close to dying. And then you got people on the starboard. I don't know all the terms for ships, so just relax.
What's starboard? So starboard's almost like
to the left or the right of.
But bring it back to like Pirates of the Caribbean, where they're almost like gonna get pushed off.
Yeah, so they're at the side. So these people, they're on the ship, but the littlest hit, they're in the life rafts or in the drink.
Yeah, you're right.
Then you got the deck, the middle of the deck, the sides that are they're in it. They're here to win, but they're not quite at the top echelons of the competition. Then you've got the captain's quarters, the captain's room, the captain's closet, whatever the fuck you want to call it. This is where the genuine contenders are. And then you got the captain's wheel. They're the ones, they are the genuine premiership favourites, and it's their competition at the moment. They are driving this ship home.
Now, Johnny, we did this last week.
Yes.
I actually had a question.
Cool.
Captain's wheel. Can two teams be there?
Yes.
Could multiple? So you're saying more than one?
Yeah.
So like three?
Yeah.
If they were okay.
Depending. Okay. It's a very fluid. This is changing week to week. This is going to change all the time. We're going to do it every week. It's a fluid list. Let's see what happens.
It's the best segment in the AFL right now. So it's hot in demand. 100%. Let's get into who's off the ship, Johnny.
So off the ship. So we had the three teams. So we had West Coast. Good on them for getting their first win, but they had already drowned, so it doesn't matter. Hawthorn. I don't know why you debated with me that they shouldn't be in the drink. They're definitely in the fucking drink now. And North Melbourne have won one game in 27. They drowned 3 years ago. They were never even on the deck. And Richmond, Richmond's the funny one because they were with the life raft. And Adelaide were like on the life raft too, but like half their body in the water trying to climb up. Richmond offered them a hand. Adelaide's thrown them in the drink and took their spot. Richmond are done losing to West Coast, to the worst side in the AFL, and they are gone. All that goodwill, Richmond, you're fucked.
So they're done.
That's done. That's
the bottom four.
Drowned. Don't need to send a search party.
It's bottom four for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I don't think that there's going to be any improvement from those teams. I mean, obviously you had West Coast first win, great work. Harley Reid doing well. But Richmond, we thought Adelaide were on the out.
Mate, Adelaide were holding on for dear life and Richmond helped them and Adelaide's like, brought them down. Adelaide are on the life raft. Richmond drowned. They are done. Their players are old. They've got horrible young talent. Finished. Done. Lost to the worst side.
That brings us to the lifeboats, Johnny.
Adelaide survived. Fantastic win on the weekend with some great coaching moves. Got Rochelle ranking in the midfield. Tex was back to his best. Kicked 4 goals. Set up 4 or 5. Lots of goal score involvement. Their backline held up well. They moved the ball quicker. Berry off the sub. Adelaide, they're still on the raft. They've still got to do some things, but they've got a chance here to maybe climb up the side of the boat with a game against Essendon.
Well, yeah, they were on the very brim of the last raft last week. They were about to tip off into the water.
They were holding on for dear life.
West Coast flipped that for them and helped them get back straight into the middle of the life raft.
West Coast went under the raft. They kicked it, and there we go.
Now we're on to the starboard, Johnny.
This is an interesting one.
You've made some changes.
They've made some changes. So Gold Coast sitting still there. I know they beat Hawthorn, but Gold Coast do this every single time. They play Sydney at Sydney. We're going to learn a lot about Sydney it could be quite brutal. They could be overboard, or they could be a win against Sydney. They could be firmly on the deck. This is the biggest test for them. The Bombers. Now, I know they beat the Bulldogs, but they beat the Bulldogs. They were still horrible against Port Adelaide. I still need to see more from the Essendon Football Club to get past, to get further. What would you say to that, Josh Bean and Essendon Sport?
I think, like you said, it comes back to consistency. They recruited really well this year. I think it's only 5 games in. It's taken a bit of time, bringing in a new ruckman, a very good defender, and they're playing their key roles. Dersmer's doing a great job. Gresham, they're all having such a big impact. So I think it's just the synergy and building the consistency amongst the team. It's been really good, but I don't, like you said, I'm not optimistic about Essendon. I'm a realist. I think they're exactly where they need to be. I think if they win this game against Adelaide, they do deserve a spot on the deck, though.
I was gonna say Essendon are really on a sort of knife edge. It's not
It's
even
weird. If they lose
Adelaide
this
are
one, it's
only
a bit of
one.
strife.
Adelaide are 1-4, but in Adelaide have got their mojo back.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to agree. A win over Adelaide is a bit of maturity. But
Surely
if
it
they
gets them
lose,
there.
but if they lose, it shows me, we're back to where they are.
Well, I think they're right as is. I don't think they're a life raft team. They're on the starboard. They can very much pivot this year. It's like Carlton last year, round 15. They would have been on the bloody starboard. They were very much about to be flying off.
No. They were dead. They were dead. They rose. Everyone they were proclaimed dead. They sent word to their families. They were all finished and dead, and they rocked up on the beach one day and were like, we're alive.
Holy shit. Oh my God. Now you're changed. So you brought, St Kilda were there last week.
And St Kilda, really good performance, but I want to see that loss to the Bombers really hurt them. I wasn't convinced against them against Richmond. I just want to see a bit more for St Kilda before I put them right in the midst of it.
Yep. And then you've added the Doggies.
And then I've sort of shifted out. So Brisbane we'll get to them. The Doggies, really disappointing. I thought they've actually proven me right. I think they had a really good run when they won their grand final. Their back line is undersized. Their forward line, apart from Ugal Hagen, doesn't function. Their midfielders are front runners and don't know how to play defense. The coach and the list management are at odds, whether the coach thinks that this is a bottom side and he wants to, rebuild. They think they're a top 4 side. They're not a top 4 side. That Bont is awesome. Bont is awesome. Lib is good. He's a fair, honest player. Is he an A grader? No. Treloar has never been an A grader. I don't care what anyone says. He gets cheap possessions. McRae's slow. Again, you could see him running. Dogs are on a knife edge here. They're 2 and 3. Now, them and St Kilda are wrestling.
Yeah.
Because one of those teams loses, they go 2 and 4.
Do you think for the Dogs right now, a good thing would be, like, there's flirted with the idea of Aaron Norton going down back?
Yeah.
Bailey Dale, All-Australian backman. He was their sub.
Caleb Daniel
hasn't had a game. McRae only just came back in.
Looks slow.
And these guys are all there. They're on contracts up until 2026, 2027.
Well, Dogs
what do you think they're trying to do?
Well,
I
don't think they know. This is the problem.
Okay.
But you listen to the Luke Beveridge, post conferences. He's asking questions. It's sort of giving the idea that he doesn't think this list is that good.
Okay. But the CEO and everything think they're a top 4 team.
It seems like they don't want to hear that. They're a top 4 seed. And people buy into the Bulldogs every year because apparently this star-studded midfield. Bont is a gun. Sure. Treloar's a B player. He always has been. He always was. McRae's slow. Lib is a gun, heart and soul. He's not an A grader.
McRae can be a gun.
He
can
gets
be good,
a lot of
but you're
ball,
right.
but he
looks
looks like a 2. He looks like a 2s player. Their forward line does not function. They spent all this money on Rory Lobb when they had Tim English, which was just stupid. Bulldogs haven't had a key backman since Dale Morris, and he was undersized. There's just fundamental issues, and you saw it. They made that granny in 2021, and they're up by 4 goals with 10 minutes to go in the third quarter, and they were 5 goals down at 3/4 time, lost by 75 points. There's just no defense to this side. them and St Kilda, it's going to be interesting, and we're not going to give predictions, but they are wrestling to stay on the boat because whoever loses goes 2 and 4.
That excites me for Essendon because I feel like where you've placed them, they've got 2 teams because Ross, the boss, with his ability to coach St Kilda is incredible with the list that they've got as well. There's nothing that stands out to me on that list. But the Doggies, they're in internal turmoil, I guess you could say. They don't really know what they're doing and they need someone to really guide that ship. And I think that comes from management down. And I think right now they're very confused as to what path they're on. And I think that's because of some losses. But I think I really like it because I think Essendon only have one way up.
Well, good thing Essendon 3-2.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be on down.
That helps.
Yep. Then we're on to the deck. I don't know why I said that so emphasised.
On to the deck. There has been people added. There's been 3 teams have been thrown into the deck. So Collingwood had a bye, so they're just staying there. Carlton
demoted,
and it's very easy to be reactionary to one game.
Yeah,
the injuries though. So this is who we have out for the next 2 to 4 weeks. So we've got Chera 2 to 4 weeks, McGovern 2 to 4 weeks. Then we have Sard 2 to 4 weeks. We are going up. So this is now we've got GWS. Lucky they've got injuries. Then we have Geelong. Then we have Collingwood. Then we have Melbourne. So we have a very hard side. Carlton are right back now. They could. This is the pivotal point to see how good Carlton are. Because if they come out 3, if they win 3, they could come out in the life raft. But if they go 3-1,
then
they go 3-1. We're back right into it. But I think the injuries really hurt it, and they're right back in the pack. This was very important. That was a bad loss for Carlton.
Yeah, it wasn't good. Even it was unfortunate.
Melbourne, back to it. After all the talk, I got sucked in. That was the limpest effort against Brisbane I have seen. And they were completely out-coached. Well done for Fagan moving Cameron out of the goal square so Lever and May couldn't play their intercept game. The forwards, Rayner played the best game he's ever played. But Melbourne's attitude looked shit. And it's funny, I didn't see it. A lot of people were saying they could see this happening. Which tells me Melbourne aren't mentally right. You are right back in the hunt. They're still in the ship.
I was going to say, I'm like, I guess it's one game, and Brisbane had everything.
But they were disgraceful.
Yeah, I agree. But I think Brisbane threw everything at this one because they knew they could use the momentum from their previous
I haven't kicked them off the ship.
No.
They're scrubbing decks. They're back. They're still alive. They're very much, the season's very alive.
They're in a pretty top echelon of teams there at the moment.
It's strong.
I was going to say, it's a very level
it's
sort
of
field.
And for all the things we said about Melbourne, Brisbane, 2 games in a row, have fought themselves back. I mean, they were 0-3 and by rights probably should have been on life raft, but we knew they were better than that.
Yeah.
We knew they were doing that. They could come back, and that's a big win. They are right back in. Their season is very much alive now.
And the Dockers, they're staying as is.
Freo is staying and they're doing super well. They've got a problem with their scoring ability, and they've still lost those 2 games. So they're right in the thick of it. No team is going to want to play them. People trying to get onto the ship, they're going to take their money. Like it's going to be a scrap. They're just not at that top yet.
Yeah. Brings us to the captain. What did you call it? The captain's quarters.
Geelong are firmly. They're at the map. They know exactly what they are doing. They have been here before and they have not lost. They've got a big challenge though against Brisbane, but that's at the Gabba. I'm very happy where Geelong are now.
I think they should be on the wheel.
And the reason they haven't is from what we spoke about, they still haven't played anyone.
Yeah, I guess that's the only thing this week will define them.
Correct.
It's exactly why I put them looking out towards the water, like they're almost about to take that wheel spot.
Yeah.
Because they know last time they're looking at the map, they're figuring it out.
Yeah.
This time they're looking straight ahead, going, we know what we need to do.
Yeah.
It's literally time for them. If they win against Brizzy up at Brizzy, I think that they have to take that spot.
Correct.
I think, either way, I mean, if Geelong win and GWS lose against Carlton.
Well, let's get to this. We'll get to GWS. We'll get to GWS.
So
Port Adelaide, we learn a lot about Port Adelaide because their players are learning on their feet. So they played against Melbourne in that close game and sort of let Petrarca and Oliver run free at the end. Rosie and Butters showed they could play shutdown roles. They played man-on-man defense, which I've never seen before. Pivotal role in that last Wines to Rosie to Francis Horn against a side who were at them all day. We learned a bit about Port Adelaide today. They're firmly
was this about against Freo?
Yeah.
I thought you said Melbourne. My bad.
Well, I was referring to
the previous one.
They learnt from that Melbourne loss. They are very much in there. Still got a bit for them to put them at that last part. But they're there.
I know, like, I haven't seen them that well through my lifetime. I haven't seen them be up, and be real premiership contenders over the last 10 years.
I mean, they've made a couple of prelims.
Yeah, I was going to say prelims, but I just haven't felt like they've got that extra gear on the other teams that just continuously make...
This Port team is better than any team that they've had in those years, though. This is it's a younger side. It's got more skill.
How did you think Horn Francis and Wines came back?
I'd like to see more.
Yeah.
They've played Collingwood this week at the MCG. We're going to learn a lot about Port Adelaide.
Well, this is list on list are very good.
This is great. Collingwood have, like Brisbane, have got themselves back into it. It's at the MCG, favours the Pies.
Yeah.
Port's got to be able to do it here.
Yeah. And then we had Sydney as well, sitting comfortably. They had the bye.
Sydney obviously had the bye. They didn't look great in their last couple of games, losing to Richmond. They beat West Coast, not by a great thing. They're just sitting there now. I'm not as sold as we were. Sydney looked unbeatable before the Richmond game. Their skills just look too good.
And the pressure.
Yeah.
They figured out the game.
But let's see. They've got Gold Coast in Sydney. Should be fine. Should be fine. But I'm happy where they are now. But if anyone's coming out of the door, and back to the deck, Sydney's the one out of that group.
Is there at all a point where a team can't be in one team will always have to be in a certain section? Like,
No.
what if there's a clear favourite for a captain's wheel, and then there's just another level?
fluid.
It's everyone goes to the deck because it's
Scenario.
becoming a very even competition. And
Scenarios.
it's not just based on how you look at the ladder. It's based on, hey, there's
How did
a
they
team-
play against a certain side? How much did they lose? What did it mean that game? It's a fluid thing. There's no rules.
It's kind of like, how you look at right now, and we're going to go to NBA. The Celtics firmed up their number one spot in the East. It's kind of like if there's such a clear margin.
I get what you're
the
going to
captain's
say.
quarters. No one's even getting a spot in there. They're on the deck.
In terms
I
of
was
the West
just
for the
curious.
NBA, the Celtics are driving the ship.
Yeah.
And everyone else, you got the people in the playoffs are on the deck, and everybody else outside of that drowned. There's no life rafts once it comes finals.
All right, cool. No, I was just curious. I didn't know if that could ever be a possibility. Now that
As
brings
we
us
get close to the finals, being on a life raft is like holding on for dear life. So it's going to get harder and harder.
Yeah,
More people are going to tip over and tip over.
they're going to be done. Yeah, very true.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
Do you get
yeah.
what I mean? Adelaide are just surviving. Because
I
once
like
you're in the
this.
drink, you're dead.
Yeah, you're done.
So more people are going to come off the boat. It's not going to be the other way around. It's going to be pushed off.
This is good. I like it. Now, most exciting part, who is, I was going to say driving the boat, but steering the ship.
GWS, but they've only got one hand on the wheel.
Put a hand.
Only one hand on the wheel. The ship is going a little bit everywhere. And the reason why is injuries. Now,
Yeah.
looked very shaky. Now, Taylor's not going to be out forever, but that's a big loss. Caniglio is going to be out for some time as well. He's a very important part of their side. He's reinvented himself as a tagger who wins his own football. They're still the team for me,
Yeah.
but I am not as sure as I was the week before. There was some vulnerability. They almost dropped the game at home in St Kilda, and there's a bit of vulnerability when Taylor's not on the side. The Carlton GWS game is fascinating from a coaching perspective. Read out the nut. So McGovern, Sard, who create a lot of our ball movement, precise ball movement off the half-back line, gone. Cherry, our best best disposal user in the midfield, gone. How does Carlton, their deliveries just gone? So who plays on like a Toby Green? Big issue. Does Carlton continue with Pitnet? Does DeConing go back? Now GWS. Taylor's gone. It's a big enough role versus Mackay and Curnow at the best of days. Now their best player, massive. Buckley's going to have to do 2-on-1. This is going to be absolutely insane. Caniglio, they lose. That's like they're a better version of Hewitt. That's another big body. Can Carlton? They keep talking about our clearance game. Can we? Exert our will. It's fascinating. It's amazing.
It's going to learn a lot about the depth of GWS.
As we said, this round is very pivotal. Every game is exciting to watch. There's going to be some changes.
There's going to be some huge changes. Based on GWS, they haven't... The only hard team they played with was Collingwood.
Yep.
This shows a lot. This is going to show a lot.
They've got Carlton and Geelong next.
It's going to be hard.
I think they've got... Or something like
and
that.
And they lost a few good players in the games that you would just hope you just get through and win.
This is it. But they're undefeated still. So they've got the hand on the wheel, but just the one hand.
Guys, that wraps up the premiership. Johnny, did you have any other thoughts? Anything else you wanted to share with the viewers?
What a big round of football. I'm super excited. Every game, just look at every game. It's absolutely phenomenal. St Kilda Bulldogs, it's going to be a fight to stay on this ship. Adelaide, Essendon, Adelaide's balls are back. Bombers back to some form, travelling over to Adelaide. Then you've got Carlton and GWS. It's going to be a coaching, absolutely. This is going to be fascinating from a coaching perspective. Two good teams, injuries. Collingwood, Port Adelaide. Collingwood are back.
Very excited for that.
Port Adelaide are really showing how good they are. Can they win at the MCG? Brisbane are back versus the unbeaten Geelong. Then you got the Sunday games. Sydney and Gold Coast. Sydney haven't looked unstoppable, and Gold Coast are trying to prove are they a top 8 side? And then you've got the greatest game of all, the battle of the guys who are already dead. North Melbourne and Hawthorn. North Melbourne have won one game in 27. It's a fucking joke. I don't know who I'm picking.
It's going to be...
But we'll do that tomorrow.
It's going to be fun for bets and for tips. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how... I don't even think I'd even bother betting on this sort of round. I'd just be tipping, and I think the bad tippers are going to win out. So,
good work,
guys,
Jesse.
Thank you so much for watching. Where did you see everyone sitting? We want your engagement on this one. We want to know where you guys think that... Is there any other teams that are in the water that you truly believe are in the water or steering the ship? I think a lot of people are probably going to come out and say Geelong should be there. I think
I would love people to start saying that now, because most of you didn't even have them on the boat.
There you have it, guys.
Fucking told you.
That is the premiership. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and
ring the fucking bell.
See you guys in the next one.